Okay, so we're just gonna start here. This is very unproduced. Uh, I'm not even going to try to play off all the stuttering and stopping. Uh, Welcome, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. This is day 3 post having a near stroke while staying in Thailand. So that's fun. The Thai medical system is great. Let's get that right off the bat. They've been excellent, but we are in a dire strait to begin with, and the cost of the treatment is around 141,000 baht, which comes about to 4,000 plus USD. So if there's anything you can do to help, I have our Patreon and GoFundMe up in the chat, and QR code for the GoFundMe on the border here. And that's going to be up the whole stream. We'll figure out how far we're going. The other thing is, like, there's been a noticeable hiatus, but I have been working on things in the background. Foremost of which is building, programming, and training this thing. So I've been working on a video about getting into robotics, why I'm getting into robotics, and a little bit on how we're training this thing in the face of AI and corporations not giving a care about human beings' decency, human life, or whatever. So basically, long story short of this is trying to prove that I still have worth as a human being, and that at 46 years old, I still have the ability to learn and create things of value to capitalists, I guess. That's the short of that. But yeah, uh, working on this, working on a puppet mechanism to control this, and to hopefully move beyond this kind of learning model with Arduino and um, basic robotic learning to start getting into like puppetry and stuff, which like Jim Henson stuff has always fascinated me even as a kid. So like the ultimate goal is like this is for learning how to program things to make actual creative product in a world that just wants shortcut CGI garbage. So like this is trying to show learning and a value of real work. But it's a long go. Like the last time I programmed anything was in high school, and I was programming in C++ and Pascal. So it's a bit of a memory and learning curve. Plus, we're trying to get an actual job here from Thailand, and that's a bureaucratic nightmare, mostly because America sucks, and the universities in America suck extra bad, and the universities in Ohio are the worst of them. And unfortunately, I had the misfortune of being born in Ohio. So there's that. On top of the robotics, I was also working on a long script to get back into board game reviews and things. But like, I don't really want to talk about board games. We're also like teaching and getting them played on anything but a solo level is really hard to do here. Just because like English language groups have different priorities. Like hardcore board gamers know trying to get like casual board gamers to do stuff is hard. But like there's hardcore board gamers here. But like I'm at a huge language deficit, only learning French, Latin, ancient Greek, and stuff growing up. So like my French, Italian, ancient Greek, and Latin doesn't help me here. But I was working on a video script about the Chicago 68 Democratic National Convention game and Star Wars Battle of Hoth here together as a single concept around kind of like what's the value of play acting resistance, especially in a world that dresses themselves up in AI versions of Grogu and the Mandalorian, even though they're the evil empire. I don't know if you've seen Trump's nonsense. Nobody wants to watch Trump's nonsense. But we live in a world where the empire thinks it's the rebels, and it uses cheap, shoddy bullshit in order to justify its vision of itself. Because reality and the way civil society is supposed to work is anathema to their personal philosophies. So, what does it mean to play war games? What does it mean to exist in a world where somebody is the evil empire, and the futility of playing a rebellion? Especially here, because you're in a rebellion in retreat. This is Empire Strikes Back. So this is where the rebellion is on its last leg. So what does that mean with play? And like similarly, like this is where we had a chance to make Democrats actually stand up for democracy. And journalism had a chance. What actually happened? What's portrayed here as somebody that lives in Chicago and has grown up with this as a shadow in the current environment, especially I can talk about the latest Democratic convention last year for Kamala Harris, seeing as I lived here and I was in the physical area, the conversations I heard from delegates and the lack of representation by Democrats and Kamala Harris and the establishment. I think this, with current events, ties in there. But it's a long essay, and I keep going back and forth on it. Like if even putting out that essay has any value. What does it mean? The world keeps changing every second in a way that just is maddening. Sorry, my eyes. But yeah, the way the world changes, like what is the value of such a thing? What is the value of critique? What is the value of finding joy? Is there any catharsis in playing these rebellions out? Is there any catharsis in playing the Empire? Like, these are all things that are trying to go in that essay, and I've been trying to write that for well over a month and a half. Board games come to Thailand a bit slower because of tariffs, U.S. and Thai-specific that. It's a very wary country, and rightly so. But that means that there's a lot of barriers to like freewheeling commerce, especially as a form. So there's that I've been working on. The robotics, and just for fun, I've been working on this little guy. Let's see if I can actually do anything with the lighting. And I don't think I'm going to get anything done with the lighting here. So I've been working on, let's see, white on rice here. Okay. Let's just pull up this box to use as a background. So, I don't know if you can see. I've been learning 3D printing and designing, and this is actually iridescent. So if you put it under black light, this specifically glows like a light blue. Like you could actually dial in the color that it glows here. It's a little bit hard to see. So been working on printing this guy out and going through some painting for like a build video. But that's another long-term project that we have here. On top of trying to find work, go through paperwork, and all that. But the main thing we're going to do today is try to bring back up my skill level because we finally got a drawing pad here. I had to abandon most of my things when we traveled here, and everything is in storage because you can't carry everything. You just can't. So it was basically essentials only. So I didn't bring my drawing pad because it was one of those huge old school Wacom ones from like 10 years ago. But this is a really nice compact one that is very responsive, nice enough to do things. So I'm going to try to just do some sketching today. Maybe we'll play a little video game. I've got the Switch and Steam locked in just in case. But like today we're just going to kind of focus on getting back into gesture drawing and maybe just some random cartooning because it's been a long time and my primary medium has always been manual. I am, as they say, an elder millennial. So I learned old school well before the technology came to actually do stuff online, which people are natively doing. So we're just going to do some sketching today. If this works out, we might do a little every week. Once again, we're not making any promises because the crash out from before keeps happening. Hopefully I won't have another stroke. But we'll do this. I do have a Nomad Sculpt powered up here as well. Probably I'm not going to do that today, but that's what I've been doing my Godzilla stuff with. And that's super exciting because it's very intuitive and doesn't break my brain the way Blender does. So we may do some Nomad Sculpt in later iterations, and maybe even print something out in the future. We'll see how it goes. Also, like doing scripted videos, takes a long amount of time and editing, so that's why we're back here on Twitch primarily, just working stuff out. So we'll just do Twitch, chop stuff up, throw it randomly on the YouTube and see what sticks, because nothing works with the algorithm anymore. So if you'll hold on, I'm going to grab the little glovey thing, and we're going to get to some drawing. Okay, so this works. This is my little Nintendo Switch cam. Let me grab the glove here, and we need to loosen our arms up. Because the other part of having a near stroke is that they don't like having me like move my neck or anything, or doing any sort of like big dodgy movements. Because apparently there is a blood clot like right down, like just below, like right at the brainstem, and as they're trying to bring the blood pressure down, they don't want it to dislodge any of those clot places and have that shoot back up and cause a full-blown stroke. So, like, I have to be very careful about movements, very careful about exercise, very careful about diet. They have me on so many pills that I have to take at very precise moments throughout the day. It's a whole thing. But I'm glad to be alive. Any little bit helps. And we're gonna not deal with that right now. Okay, let me go grab that glove. We got our anti-smushy glove. Got our pen. Let's get going here. The only thing that would make this better is if I had an actual chair to sit in. Because right now, the only setup we have that actually stays connected is here on this kind of IKEA broken down ass couch. I found this though, so let's see if we can get some color on here. I'm going to do this below the camera because it is a black light. And even though, like, black lights are okay not looking directly at it, I do not want to jump on anything. So let's go back to the main camera here. And I'm going to actually turn off the lights a little bit. Close the blinds because it's mid-morning, so you don't really need lights. Okay, so it's spooky. Let's see, let's go. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the black light and then I'm just hitting this below the belt here for a little bit and charging it up because it's been sitting in a box. It hasn't been in any actual light for a while. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this, but like, I don't know if you can see how much it glows. Try not to look at it as well. Yeah, it's not showing up on my crappy camera as much, but yeah, it's got some iridescence to it. Like it definitely glows a bit more. Let's see if it works better with the actual drawing camera. Let's juice it up again. Yeah, that shows up a little bit better. So yeah, I just did it. So yeah, that's the kind of glow that it has. Like it holds longer the more light you put onto it. And definitely in person, it looks a lot bluer. But we're going to have that as the base and then like paint over it with kind of a translucent paint. And of course, I'll leave the spikes raw. So that'll really pop when lighted. Let's turn normal lights back on. And let's get to the old Troy do here. Let's see, does mine. Whoop. Okay. So our drawn canvas works. And so I'm going to kind of smush our Streamlabs screen a little bit. Okay. And that means I'm bringing up over here a little bit of reference on top of our stream. So let's put in just, just doing big gesture poses. So big gestures. So let's just bring up some like classical stuff. So let's see. The easiest thing to do is like Renaissance sculpture. But let's go a little bit later for one of my favorite sculptors, even though he's literally the most suck up demon twink in all of art history. I mean, besides Andy Warhol, but that's Andy Warhol. We're going to bring up some Bernini stuff because Bernini is the master of like posing and contrapposto. So like we're not like if you don't know Bernini, let's try to see if we can pull. See if we can pull an image straight onto canvas here. I'm searching for a good image of something crazy that Bernini does. But, like there's a couple usuals. But like, yeah, let's just look at this facial sculpture for a whole second. As I pull things over. Let's see. Run too many things, there it is. Up and down. Okay, so yeah. So this wonderful little head here is like how Bernini tracks expression. So like, let's blow this up a bit. Like, just kind of look at like the wild lines in the head shape and the extremes of the expression, which is very much part of his Rococo timeline, his response to kind of the staid formalism of like late Renaissance and Mannerism work. Basically, they were looking for like a hot young shit sculptor to bring people back into church after the Reformation. So like this is Counter Reformation. This is big church propaganda saying we got the most explosions, the most Marvel, the most IP going. Look at this shit, and that's kind of what Bernini was about. Was like definitely the Transformers pornography of the day. So let's just use a more basic form of this. We don't want to get too wild. Let's use some of these nymphs here. Save some nymphs. Of course, we are working on a Windows machine, so it is the dumbest fucker in the world. Here. Okay, let's bring her over again. Boom. Okay, so we got some nymphs going on. So, like as you can see, let's pull up a new layer. There's this annoying guy. Let's drop this opacity back to Squado. Okay. So we've got two main things going on. We've got this kind of line of action here. The hips going back there. The shoulders going around there. So we've got kind of doing the Marvel pose before the Marvel pose. So like just dunk that in. We don't really have a good background, but like you definitely know that the elbows are kind of there, wrists are kind of there, knees are there, ankles are there. So like our main thrust is here. Going kind of like that. Meanwhile, we've got movement going this way, but our balance here. So you see our knees are doing this thing, our ankles are doing that thing, our hips are doing that thing, chest is doing this thing here. Of course, our head is that way. So like our ground plane is kind of like that. So that's the very basics of what we're working with. And like that's just putting in the outline. Now we're gonna actually do some more gestural work, which we're actually gonna kind of ignore this section right here. We're just gonna put that aside. And let's just do a little gesture of our main nymph here. This silly little guy. Okay, so I like to work in non-photo blue, just because I'm used to doing that on actual like chipboard. So we're gonna just use it. We want some shoulder movement. So now I'm just kind of like, what does that feel like? I'm actually gonna take that off, bring this back up because we're working alongside image, not on top of it. So there. So now I can see a little bit more. So we've got wonderful like curving back happening. So, like if you think the shoulders like there, and all that rib cage is pulling across there. So then like their chin's going back across this clavicle. So we kind of got a wonderful like figure eight thing happening. So let's do that. So there's some crazy ecstasy happening here, but we really want to work on just kind of figure eighting our way out here. So let's just get rid of this. Because like along with the structure, I'm looking at light and shadow as well. So like as I'm penciling in more of my feeling of the shape in general. Let's actually get a chalk. There we go. So doing fast gesture drawings, like with charcoal on a giant piece of paper, is really just about loosening up and getting the feeling. Like it doesn't really have to look like anything real. But you're getting the feeling of the movement. So here I'm just gonna do this again. So gesturally we're looking at, there's this blackness coming in on the back, but then it highlights on there. There's some dark coming in there. There's a light area here. Where there's the darkness coming in from that side. So knowing that I can get more, when I start thinking about the light over the shape, I can start feeling more of the three-dimensionality of the object. It's this isn't just a drawing of things. This is an actual real-life sculpture that he had to think about, not only in 3 dimensions, but definitely with Bernini 4 dimensions, because he's always capturing action in time. They're not staying there. They're not static. They're not being epic posers. They're in the middle of things. They're experiencing the ecstasy. They're in the middle of throwing the stone, David. So we want to feel that shape moving, and like I said, right now this is just the lightest. So that even headwise, we see a hand coming out that way and praise, and then the head is just the fact that they could do this in marble and get the hair to stand like that is insane. What those 15th and 16th century kids were doing, it's just nuts. Okay. So yeah, we've kind of got a feeling here. So we're going to take that, and now we're going to actually start to do some drawing over the top of it. So we're going to pull back. And I'm still just doing charcoal work. But we're going to dial in here. Where is my finger? Okay. So, as we can see closer up, his fingers are becoming creased because Narcissus is a bitch. We're gonna go. Let's focus on the shoulder. Let's shoulder. on, brush. Don't be that way, brush. Don't be that all over. And once again, we're still doing gestures, but we're just doing slightly more refined, building her way in. And yeah, so this is why we can't do this. So here we have some wrist action going. So wrists are always hard. Like it's doing kind of one of these things. And of course, the thumb is actually connecting back in here with a ligament going like that. So you've got some sort of thumb action. And the fingers are already becoming leaves, so like they're becoming super abstracted. So which is good for us because hands suck. So like there's definitely like a hot spot here with some shadow. And I apologize on arm noise. Like the thumb is absolutely wrong because we're sitting in the background. So the thumb is actually going like here. But yeah, part of why I haven't been posting a lot is we are in a very small space. So it's not a lot of opportunity to do so. Okay, so like it's a wonderful dark line, just kind of following edge of that bone as the lights hitting like right here, then get this dark spot right at the edge of the bone. Then you've got some backlight haloing happening here, so it's definitely just trying to remind me where my line is when we come in and do some smudging up. So like that line is coming up that way. rotate this. Okay, let's get rid of the blue. Let's pull that neck back. So the neck doesn't just sit there, it's being pulled. This way, so like, and the head is kind of sitting on the neck. One of these. Definitely, I think has the chin thing going on. They were just kind of laying in the shapes. They've got this crazy braid thing. And, it's definitely more shadow on the lower part of the nose, so it really is just kind of starting in from general shapes and just dialing things in. And it takes forever to dial stuff in. Like, that's just the way stuff works. So we're just. And it's gonna look like crap until it doesn't. Okay, so we got kind of our neck. I think it's their shoulder. Let's pull our shoulders back here somewhere. Pull that up. Pull that back. Okay, we're just gonna put in a giant rectangle because we know how the internet works. So once again, like, one of the wonderful things you learn as you get older and you have to go in for more surgeries, that there's a big difference between what's up top and what's below. So like, there's a lot of hard shapes here in the rib cage that are going to pull and stretch skin and light across them. And then there's a lot of softer stuff going on down below. Like, even if you have zero body fat, like, there's a lot more soft stuff going down below here. then we have the heart shape of the hip again, which at this it's kind of like a trapezoid. Like anchors on both edges. It's like, yeah. That happening. Also, because this is for the church, they have all sorts of like weird acanthus leaves springing out of their places because that makes it better. What I really want to get to here is that it's got this arm. We really only see a little bit here. So here's the base of that wrist. It's just kind of rushing out into tree stuff really fast. Like there's a big old honk of it, right? But anyway, so we've got kind of our move. We've got this giant circle happening here. We have our giant line. So yeah, so very much we're building this giant circle and then this giant line of action holding up that kind of explosion of the natural world here. So that's these guys. We're going to put them in a folder. See if we want to do anything with that later. Which we won't. But yeah, now let's just do some free drawing here. Let's get back. Turn on photo blue. Let's get a pen that we like. Let's do one of these. Yeah, that's one. Okay, so we've got a nice one. So let's see, what do we want to draw? Like we don't really have any chatters today. Which, to be fair, that's all on me because I haven't been doing this on the reg. And we're not looking for anything fancy. So let's just do some doodling here. Again, if you are hanging out, thank you for showing up. Let me actually double check the stream. We're not doing any environmental music because also that's an issue. And let's see what we're doing. Okay, so that's going. Also, I need to plug that phone in. Let's see, we'll die. The death of the phone? Never a good situation. Okay. Let's get that plugged in. Okay, so now we're doodling, we're cartooning, we're not trying to do anything too fancy. So we're just trying to get back in the swing of things. Okay, so let's see. We got a little guy. Little guy first. Little guy nose. Expression. That's that guy. Let's see what we can do here. I know. Let's see. We have been playing a lot of Popopia stuff lately, but Nintendo did a little announcement today. So let's. I still have not seen. The Mario Galaxy movie. But I am told our little had a little cameo there that was kind of the impetus for yesterday's game announcement. Let's see if I just got that little heads up display. 250. Yeah, how big were McLeod's ears. Guessing there was something along this. Because he has the high collar too, so it. A little bit of bravado for. He's got kind of those space shoulder pads that are extra chunky for no good reason. Up those so his sleeves rolled up, like on his jacket and the undershirt. For elbow. Let's check his skin all lights. He's got like, does he wear an undershirt? These little epaulet things. And of course, being rogue type, he's got like a holster. Um, And we have confirmation that these are boots and not sawed off leg. So we'll put some strappy things on there. So we got a little fox and cloud doodle. Like it's probably hanging on at the bar there with Velcro. Kind of slipping his butt off the edge of the chair. Like once again, none of this is gonna be good drawing right now. Just framing shit. So let's see. If I was Falco, maybe I'd be looking down. Like Falco Lombardi's kind of got that secretary bird look, sort of, in Destiny. Could also be side-eyeing. Slouching. Looking iPad-wise, that's fine. Also has the high neck. And my Velcro's not working here. Just let's just do a bit of an action pose. So like put there. Okay, so we're going forward motion, so it's kind of expanding, but kind of isn't. their little wonderful. Like it does have this kind of wonderful gumdrop look. Our guy here. Definitely screen. We want the ears to keep following the line of action. But the ears are just as much a character as anything else. Line of action, line of action. So now that we've got this going, we're going to move all this down. So this is going to. gizmos in there. Let's see. Cloud here. Secondary coloration. Unfortunately, it's not affecting this line. So I'm still working with Photoshop, but not something decent because this console shoulder pad on this one. So a big part of getting back into this is just getting confident in your lines again. That was not a good line at all. So there's a base bunching going on there. Add more dimensionality to that. This arm is way too long. Yeah, so let's get back to the neon thing. Touch your hand just doesn't work. Bit on space bubbles. Got his dad's shades. Pocket there. So we got some fish stuff going on. And spoolie stuff. So yeah, so we got our little foxy box. Let's do something. Turn on our little foxy fox here. Let's see, what can we do? Honestly, let's just do some weird little characters. Let's get back to our squishy brush. So what do we want to do? Where do I want to look? Where do I want this guy looking? What Jeremy Allen White was a believer with? Like, this kind of where we're heading here. For no good reason. kind of had it for the day. It's getting whale tired. Whale tired here. Maybe it's sleeping. Gives up a little more. I don't know. Got a belligerent whale coming up here, and let's check out. There. So we got a little whale guy. Let's see what if we back the whole thing up here. So, yeah, we're just diddling around. So we've got no purpose. This isn't trophy or anything. We don't have a plan. So let's see. Today, how does it feel like to have a stroke? Well, that's interesting. So like for about 4 days, it's just like absolutely the worst pressure. Like it felt like my whole face is just like it felt like I was melting into this just puddle the whole time. That's for sure. Like it was not. You'd think it would be like one of them Hollywood things where like you're walking down the street and just collapse like you've been isekai'd by some random vehicle, but no, like it's very slow moving. Just kind of awful falling into pressure. like this blob on the floor can't do anything. Just constant falling feeling. Just this kind of gross. So instead, let's focus on something fun. I've been kind of like wondering here, like being trans, like The Little Mermaid came out literally on my 10th birthday. And to say that the cliches weren't transformative in understatement. Like Howard Ashman translating Hans Christian Andersen and Danny Kaye, all that closeted nonsense really, really broke through my little 10-year-old brain. So by the time my mom passed away in, so it's 16, 17, we had the chance to visit Disney. Because I don't know why people think that like the cure to grieving, the most important part of your life, is to go off to a weird little fascist fantasyland camp in the middle of Florida. But like, I'd say it wasn't not effective. Um, but anyway, the point is when we went in the late 90s, Little Closet and me got to work with some of the animators on The Little Mermaid and Treasure Planet, I believe was what they were working on at the time. And they were doing this institute thing where, like, as high school and college kids, you could actually go and animate with Disney animators on Disney equipment with Disney software for like 2 weeks and then like have free reign of the park every night. And that was just the most interesting experience. Because by the end you got to work on actual scenes. Not that any of them would have actually gone to production. Like you got to work on actual scenes alongside actual animators while they talked through their process, and you came away with your own bounce test, walk cycle, and speech test. along with some 3D animation tests on your own software. But like, they had all these Michael Graves designed animation desks that were the most beautiful things. And who knew that like that was kind of the end of an era? That was kind of the last gasp of Michael Eisner trying to expand Disney into more than just an entertainment company to more an education. And we'll deal with this later. I don't like what I'm doing here with hands. We're gonna get kind of the gesture going and then I'm fucking it. Anyway, screwing that up. So let's stop that for right now. Because I'm sitting very uncomfortably in here. And it is 11 o'clock. So this has been a decent experiment. Let's see, let's go back. Here, let's see what else we have on the old Dinkadoo. Oh, so we had our request cloud. Got a primary box. So, I had all the gesture drawings there. I guess we'll leave ourselves kind of this feeling.
that's how we're feeling here at the end of the